Okay, hello everybody, my name's Gareth. Probably shouldn't scratch myself live on air. Anyway, this is the first, hopefully, of a series of videos. I don't know how often they're going to be because I don't know how often I'm going to be able to unbox things. But anyway, I managed the other day in my local game store to find what I think is quite a rare find. Not with the models themselves, they actually do exist, but not in their... How to phrase this? They don't exist today as they did only a few years ago. It'll become clearer what I'm talking about. Anyway, the find in question is these beauties, which, oh, of course, it's going to be like a blooming thing. Sorry about the glare there. It's a bit close to the screen. Anyway, these are Chaos Warriors, or Warriors of Chaos, from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. And as you can see, I was able to find them in basically their original box packaging. Very nice big box, if you can just see there at the sides. And also, even better, they have the original square bases. Yes, that's right. So you can rank them up and march them to war as a glorious battalion of evil doom that's gonna basically rape, pillage, and kill everybody. Anyway, they're only make-believe, so I'm not really worried. Let's unbox. I would have ripped the plastic off, but originally I tried to make this on my phone, and yeah. Anyway, just put the box to one side. So first of all, the square bases. Yes, wonderfully squared. And then if we just hold this up, as you can see here, lovely frames my face wonderfully. You basically have what can be described effectively as the core parts of the models. You have the backs, where you've basically got capes. You've got two holes to stick arms or for arms and weapons and shields, so forth. And then you've got these guys at the front. Now these models themselves are actually getting on a bit. They're about 16 years old, or they will be this year. And if I was able to focus somewhere on here, it does actually say 2003 on one of these frames. But anyway, that's better. Just to sort of show you these, they're not particularly big models, or rather they're not complicated models. That's the best way to describe them. Just move that out of my face because it looks a bit stupid. Basically, obviously, you take the first part, you take the second part, you stick them together, and then you put them on the base, and that's your core of your model. From there, effectively, you're adding what can be described as accessories. So, move that one out as well. As you can see from here, you do get some nice variations. You've got there it is, pretty cool skull pattern there. Another skull is there. In terms of the models as well, this guy has what I think is meant to be a sheep's head, although maybe a very small sheep. Unlike Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Warriors, they're certainly bigger than ordinary warriors, but they're not giants. So you think about that in its proportion, it's basically fitting his chest. If it is an actual, or meant to be an actual skull, we're talking about something pretty small. Goat, lamb, not mutton. Full-grown sheep, probably. Here we've got heads, and I love these heads. If I can get them closer without buggering up the focus. They're wonderfully detailed in their own way. The best way to describe them is minimalist. If you look at, say, this guy here, again, I don't think I can get a great focus on that without, yeah. You've basically got your two horns, you've got a couple of slits for your eyes and another slit for your nose, and that is pretty much the only features this guy has, and yet it conveys so much character. This guy is not a very nice guy. If you come across him, then unless you're basically exceedingly good at fighting, he's going to split your head open. So again, I think there's some classic models. We've also got these, more heads, some more heads, some nice banner poles. Again, you've got some weapons, got a lot of axes. I think that's a maul or a mace. I don't know, I suppose these days of Game of Thrones you just call it a hammer with a oddly pointy bit on the end. You've got, here's a nice banner pole, and I think On another one of the frames, we have also, yep. So you get 2 banner poles, which is nice. You get a spare. You also got, if you can just show it, here is basically a kind of like hair is the best way to describe it. You know, you can kind of stick it on the top as a crest of your helmet. So, you know, you've got a bit of option of giving some of these guys who like basically got downward pointing horns, you can give them a bit more character if you want. This double frame I'm particularly fond of. You've got, if we can just show them, both your banners. You've got this one, which I think is nice if, like me, you're not particularly great at freehand painting, or in my case, you can't freehand paint. You just got to try and follow the lines. Again, quite hard for me. This one, if you are the kind of person who can freehand paint, then, you know, this is where you get to show off your artistic skills. And certainly if you go on Games Workshop and a lot of other sites, you will see a lot of great freehand painters who've been able to paint wonderful motifs on these banners. Here at the top, if I just flip it round, you've got these very distinctive arms. As you can see here, basically they're built for a very specific back part, which is, let me just flip it around. This guy is the champion's sort of cape. You've got the wonderful 8-pointed Star of Chaos. Here you've basically got a kind of very specific socket, I think is the best way to describe it. For, again, if we flip this around, these 2 arms. And here you've got some pretty interesting heads. That one I really like. Probably not going to be using it when I finally assemble these guys, but I think it's going to be great on a Space Marine Reaver conversion. And then, so there's that. And then obviously here to show them off, you've got various types of, well, basically shields. That, interestingly enough, I'm curious if there is an arm for that. Because with most of these, basically the shield arm is kind of tucked in, so you basically, it's one piece, which again I like. It's nice and simple. We're just looking. Okay, here we've got the musician's horn. I don't know how it works in Age of Sigmar, but back in Warhammer you had musicians who you could kind of use them, you know, as rallying guys who would help you guys keep up their morale. You know, it's arguably one of the great shames of modern warfare that music is effectively banned from the battlefield. You know, anyone who's familiar with the 18th century will know that, you know, it wasn't quite a battle unless there was a bit of a musical reverie going on. Anyway, I'm just looking for this arm to support that particular shield, and I've got to be honest, I'm actually finding it. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about it. I have a Chaos Raptor Corn guy I've built up with a conversion from a Chaos Knight arm, so I'm going to give him a shield. So that shield might actually do nicely and save me having to get some Chaos Knights. Anyway, so that's basically the unboxing. Just to talk a little bit more about these models with options. Standard fit up, in fact, if I show you the box, it's going to be better, isn't it? So let's just tuck that back in. As you can see, you've got a lot of guys with shields. Now, I haven't played Age of Sigmar, and I only really barely played Warhammer, but shields gave you a bit of a defensive advantage, so they were standard fit. However, one of the things you can also do is, if we can see here, these guys have been given 2 hand weapons. That gave you an extra attack. I used to have some Khorne warriors, and my Khorne warriors, they basically had 2 hand weapons because, you know, Khorne likes the attack, he's not fussed about defense. One of the things you could do back in the day, I don't sadly have them, was you could order from Games Workshop some metal options. You had 2-handed weapons and you had great weapons. I ordered 2-handed weapons for my Khorne guys because I thought it would look really good. And then I decided they didn't fit brilliantly, so I decided to sort of take the metal out. Well, of course, the metal had been super glued in place. So I ended up performing what can only be described as surgery using a 5-kilogram weight, in that I picked up the completed model and dropped it on the weight, which managed to knock the 2-handed weapons out, and then I gave them 2 separate hand weapons because, again, they were Khorne 8, and Khorne deserves 2 hand weapons. Anyway, just to show you a not particularly well painted and not even completed version, this is, if I can just get him in focus there, this is my Slaaneshi standard bearer. I've had this guy for years. I didn't think I was ever going to find any more Chaos Warriors. As you can see, we've got the banner pole here on the right. Yeah, should show us the right to you guys if I'm reading this video right. You've got a kind of mace or maul type weapon here. Again, I left him bareheaded because it just makes him look more interesting. I think it was the head I had at the time. And just to show you kind of a bit at the back, you've got this rather wonderful cape. You've got what's basically kind of bear fur, or, well, it's meant to be fur. Where it's actually from, who knows? They have bears in Warhammer, but they also probably have weird muted bears in Warhammer. And then again at the front, you can see some of the completed detail. As you can see, I think, hopefully, if I just move this guy maybe a bit closer to the camera, you've basically got the central point, or central part of the thing, that's his body, and then the cape attaches to the back, and then basically you've added, in this case, 4 of the parts, so hand weapon, banner pole, banner piece, and head. This banner piece, when I actually keep him in camera, is taken from the Chaos Space Marines box set, partially because I was just never particularly great at freehand painting and I didn't want to bugger it up, but also because, as I've said, you don't tend to get god-specific banners in this. You get very general banners, whereas in the Chaos Space Marines thing, you basically get 5 different banners to choose from, 1 for each god plus a general chaos one. So I just use this to just basically get around the whole needing to paint a freehand banner thing, or at least having something that would identify him as Slaaneshi. Just put him down. What I will be doing is, obviously, at some point I will be building these chaps, and I will be trying to get them to rank up. This was a very important thing back in Warhammer, because if they didn't rank up, it could be a bit awkward. Plus, a lot of people would build movement trays, so you had to get them to fit just right. I'm not sure at the moment if I actually want to try and build an entire square-based Chaos Army. I do have other bits, lots of Braytonian pieces that I bought way, way, way back when and never built. Men-at-Arms, some Knights. I think there's some archers maybe there, I'm not sure. There's also my Braytonian crossbowmen, who I will probably show off at some future point if I can be bothered, or if, you know, people don't make too much fun of me. I'm a sensitive soul. Or I may just do it anyway. But anyway, that's the first video. It is, I'm fairly certain you'll agree, complete crap. Hopefully I will improve. But anyway, it's been fun to do this, and see you all next time. Bye!